Let's see. We are live. Ladies and gentlemen, hello, welcome. We are trying this for the first time and we're going to introduce ourselves. And so we do not know, oh, Lisa, let me know. Let me not use that French term. I do not know what's going on. Antoinette may know what's going on, so she'll tell you. But I'm Lion Flood, and introduce yourself and please let everyone know who you are and how you're doing.
Good, good, good. Well, good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. As Lion said, I am Antoinette Blake, better known as the DE Diva, aka the Delaware blogger. And I am so super excited to be with Lion on his platform today. Most of you know I'm a social media manager, the CEO of A Blake Enterprises, social media marketing consulting. But my jam is podcasting and blogging. And when Lion asked me to come on to talk about that, what can I say? I'm here. Thank you, Lion, for having me on
Yo,
your platform today.
thank you so very much. I appreciate that. And everyone out there, and I just saw we had someone pop up, says Precious on LinkedIn just popped in, and
That's
Precious Williams.
Queen. Oh my God. Thank you so much, Precious. I love you. Oh, I love you. My heart is full.
Yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we want this to be very interactive. This isn't like a kind of a normal podcast session that I would be doing. So, if you do have any comments, please place them in the comment section. We really want interaction. We want questions regarding blogging, podcasting. And so I got a few questions in regards to that as well. But I'll show you a quick way to kind of make it a little easier. So, with the system I'm using, if you have a comment, please place it in the comment box just as such as you regularly would do. If you have a question, though, I want you to do it just a little bit different because it helps me to separate them. I want you to place all questions with a Q and then a colon and then write your question out so that way it separates it from the comments. Because a lot of times we'll get tons of comments and I'm trying to read them and we'll miss your question because they're just written in with the comments. So, eCam, which is being brought to you with Ecamm here, which is one of the most content. Oh, wrong button again. Wrong button. Clap there. Clap. Yeah, Ecamm, the most powerful content streaming platform around. So thank you so much, Ecamm. But Ecamm separates the questions. What I love, because sometimes when you're doing one of these and you get, let's say, 50 comments, there's 4 or 5 questions mixed in, but you missed them as you're scrolling. So please, anyone, please put that out there. Leah Williams says Antoinette is amazing. So look at you. You just got Carolyn's
Thank
coming in the
you,
house. She's
Leah.
happy to join. You got your following
Yeah.
just coming here like this. I love it. I love it. So we got Gemma that says
Soror
she
Gemma. Hi,
got it.
Gemma.
So wait, okay. First off, let's which sorority? Which one?
Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. Thank you very
Okay.
much. One of the D9.
Shout it out. I love that. I love that because I only know of one and I was about to do one of their things. I was like, no, let me ask first because I don't want to insult anyone by doing another sororities kind of thing or whatever. My
Thank you
sister
very
used to
much.
be. So, oh my goodness. So, ladies and gentlemen, definitely still answer any of the questions or any comments doing it. Please don't feel like, hey, the flow's going and you don't want to interrupt. We love interaction. We're currently broadcasting on 4 platforms, I think three: YouTube, LinkedIn, and then also in a private Facebook group in which we're both in, and we're working to help other entrepreneurs and content creators. So, let me ask you a question. I need to know this myself. First off, what is a blog? I've heard the term,
Oh,
I've heard it millions of times, but for anyone who may be listening who might be interested in it and they don't know exactly what it is, can you tell our listeners what a blog is actually?
oh, Lion, that is a very good question. A blog is an online journal. Now, that online journal could be a personal journal, it could be a professional journal, it could be a multitude of things, but it's written online to share from now into, infinity. The great thing about having a blog, let me talk to business owners who may say, well, do I need a blog because I have a website? I'm going to tell you yes. Why? Because a blog is continually being updated with new posts, new information. And as those Google bots are going through, they're finding that new information. And when someone asks a question, it's going to pop up. versus a website. A website is static. It very rarely changes. The information is there. It stays there. If you know your business hours, your location, every once in a while you will update it, but it's not getting that Google juice, right? The SEO, what's going to make you stand out? So a blog is simply an online journal, whether it's personal or professional. It is content that is continuing to be written and updated regularly.
Love that, because here's one of the things I usually get sometimes when people hear information and they see it, but sometimes we don't know what it means, and then we just use our own terms. And by putting it out there like that, now someone who's listening or watching this may say, "Oh, I do that," or maybe I do something like that, and they didn't even know that they were blogging or having material out there. And I kind of look at it now as a way of maybe even putting a, like you said, journal. But
Mhm.
and that's kind of how I think of podcasting in a sense.
Yes,
Podcasting for me is like my journal in which my friends, family will be able to listen and see my voice or whatever years down the line. We have Precious says she's a proud 44. I guess that's an inside thing. I'm not going to say
I
that's
know. She's,
okay.
you know, Encore entrepreneurship. Thank you, Precious. Precious is precious, first and foremost. And, the title of the show is talking about, Encore entrepreneurship. And sometimes ageism, sexism, racism will
Yeah.
stop us from fulfilling our dream. And Precious has is a dynamo. She has not
Mm,
allowed anything to stop her dreams. And all of her setbacks have given her the setup for her greatness. So she's a
mm.
proud 44 who recently celebrated her birthday. Happy belated birthday, sis. And as you know, I will be 62 on the 20th of this month.
Woo, let me give it to you, Precious. Where is it? I'm gonna give you a big old, a big old amazing for you. Let me get that out there. Where's my amazing? Here we go. There it is. Pop up, amazing, Precious, confetti up in the air for you. Yes. So we gotta love it and celebrate those kind of things. And so I
Yes.
do this thing, and what you've seen, and anyone else out there who may want to know, we have some groups that we're in, and one of the things that I love doing is called Wednesday, right? But not W, the regular spelling, WE. I go WINS day, right? And I'm saying celebrate whatever it is. I don't care how small, how big it is, because for me, I talk about breaking societal norms a lot. And society has
Mhm.
told us you can't or you shouldn't tell someone about your celebrations, and you can't do this. And I'm like, no, you can't, you should. And I remember real quick, and I'll pass this back to you. I remember reading something Steve Harvey wrote once, and he said he used to post pictures of the trips that he and his family would go on, and the boats and all that other extravagant stuff. And someone said to him once, "You should stop doing that because you're showing off." And he said, "I did stop doing it." And then he stopped. He said, after a while, I said, "No, because I could be motivating someone to want to get to where I'm at. I'm not doing this to say, look how much money I have or whatever. People know I got money. I'm doing this to say, hey, you can do it, and promote maybe a product or something." So Precious, whomever else out there, celebrate everything. I don't care what it is, celebrate it. So she says, "What 62?" Yes, looking good, sis. Thank you, Lion. Thank you, everyone else. So, hey, we're here for it. Appreciate that, Precious. I want to hear more about your story in a little bit as well. So now, tell us now, what are some things in this blogging kind of? We'll do blogging first, and then we'll kind of intertwine podcasting and stuff. But in blogging, someone's out there right now, and they heard you just talk about blogging, journal, and they're like, "That sounds interesting." What are some maybe steps, advice that you might want to give to someone that says, hey, maybe here's some starting points. You don't need tons of stuff, but here's what you do.
That's a really great question. And with blogging or podcasting, as in journaling, you have to have a passion. And I know that P word we just throw around, but the passion of writing, right? Now we have AI, so it makes it a little bit better. But in order for you to remain consistent, you have to have a passion for that topic. So when I first started blogging, and I have a book here, Basic Blogging Tips for Beginners, when I first started blogging, it was in 2000, it was 2012. And I started blogging as a way to fill a void. And my grandmom had passed away. She had raised my sister and myself. And then I raised her, and then she transitioned at the age of 98. And when she left this world, I found I had so much time on my hands. I had been married for, 30 some years. The boys were growing up and doing their thing, but I missed the shopping and the camaraderie with my grandmom. And one of the great things that we did, because we grew up in the projects of New York, was to thrift. We would shop at the Salvation Army on Saturdays in New Rochelle, New York. And so I had a passion for thrifting. I loved it my entire life before it even became popular. So I continued thrifting, but I wanted to share my deals. I wanted to share my reviews. So I started writing. And blogging at that time was really like mommy bloggers talking about kids and, family and diapers and formula. And I said, here I am over the age of 50. I want my blog, I want my written content to be dedicated to women over a particular age, boomers and beyond. So, as a former educator, someone that loved to write, and now having all this excess time on my hand, I started my first blog. It was DE, Diva with an H, deals.com, fashion and fun after 50. And Lion, I would shop and I find deals, whether it's on clothing or food or travel or trips, whatever the case may be. And I just started writing. I started taking pictures. I was carrying this big DSLR camera to the grocery store, before, the smartphones where everybody's snapping. This was, people would look at me like, why is she taking pictures of cheese? And why is she taking pictures of this? And why does she have a coupon for that? Because I wanted to share my love, my gift from God with others. So I literally self-taught myself. I went online and I found WordPress and I figured out how to create my website blog. And it took off to the point that I was doing some amazing product reviews. This is way before influencer marketing. I actually had an opportunity to be flown to Los Angeles and I did a commercial for Depends. Yep, 55 plus, right? On Rodeo Drive. I mean, wardrobe, makeup. It was wonderful. Checks, freebies. I was doing car reviews, and that passion just continued and continued. And as an educator, I said, you know what? I can teach other people how to do this. So I started teaching blogging first free at the public libraries here in Delaware. And one of my bestie friends, she says, Antoinette, you know you can make some money doing this, right? Never dawned on me because I was still working a 9 to 5 with IBM. And I said, okay, let me run down to Wilmington and register this business and make some coins. And I did. And then I wrote the book. And then I became an adjunct instructor at DelTech, and it just continued on. So if you have a passion or an interest, whether it's travel, education, entertainment, whatever it is, you can start your own blog. And one thing I want to say, don't allow imposter syndrome to stop you, because my experiences as a thrifter growing up at the projects in New York in the 60s is going to be completely different than your attitude or your experiences. So everyone is going to come to you for a different reason. Nothing that's ever been written hasn't been written before. So if you love to write, you have a passion on a topic, and you want to share it, you want to leave your legacy, start a blog.
There it is, right? Direct into the people. So you heard it. You got no excuses. Laid out the steps 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't care what the age is. And that's one of the great things when you said, hey, let's talk about this to show people that at a certain age, you're not withheld. You can still do this. I saw a couple of comments just come in, and I'm going to say that this is supposed to be a sound, but Jimma Lowry says yep. EEYIP. So yeah, I'm gonna let y'all do
That's
that.
a sorority call.
Okay. And then Dr. Eunice. Okay, no. So I'm gonna just say Dr. Eunice because I'm not going for that.
Well, Misia, Dr. G. Hi,
There it
Dr.
is, Dr.
G.
G. There we go. Dr. G says hello. Hey, I love to make sure I get people's name correct because I don't like it when someone says they say the name wrong and then no one correct. That's my name. It's who I am. No, get my name correct. Just because you cannot pronounce it correctly doesn't mean I should be satisfied with you. You know, just because you haven't heard it, it's
Jacking
not
up
one
my
of the
name, right?
right stuff like that. So thank you all for those comments out there. Keep them coming. And now, one of the great things I love about this conversation, in which when we said, let's talk about this so people can hear it, come out and see that you can do this, is I believe that a lot of times you have to have some uncomfortable conversations in order to progress, right? And I've noticed big time that there's a turn in society that's happening where people aren't afraid to talk about mental health any longer, right? It's still some stigma
Hmm.
there, but they're much more open about it. Hey, I've got some issues. I tell people, hey, I'm a retired Marine. I've got some mental health issues,
Hmm.
especially as a black man. I grew up
Right.
with that can't be. You can't do this, and I said I'm going to change the way it is with my son, right? And so I do not believe, and anyone listening to this, this is my take on it, right? I do not believe in what's called generational curses. And here's why. Because I don't believe that someone sat back and they had a pot and they put an eye of Newton and a frog's toe in there and they put a curse on you and your family. No, it's generational choices. We can choose to stop doing something. You can wear white after Labor Day. You can put your Christmas tree up in October if you want. I don't know about that, but you can. Who's So, but I love this because we have to have this conversation because I know sometimes there are people who get to a seasoned age or something and they think, you know what, that's it for me. My work career was all I knew. You're more than just your work career. Like you could start a blog as a hobby, like you said. You could
Hmm.
start a passion of maybe you love to travel and you want to give advice to people who want to travel alone and
Hmm.
you've traveled the country and you can tell someone make sure you have an extra passport or something. You can do
Hmm.
that and I love that. And so what are some ideas and some steps now that you are planning to do or you might want to do within this blogging kind of industry that you're working to do? Is it something you're thinking of scaling, expanding? What are your thoughts on it?
Lion, you are so in my head. The great thing about having, life, like I always say that our gift from God is life. What we do with that life is our gift back to Him. Now, we're here today, gone today. Unfortunately, I lost my sister in a car accident at the age of 29 in 1992. There's not a day that doesn't go by that I don't think about her. And the reason why I brought that up is because now that I'm so interested in podcasting, I'm not going to let the blogging go. But podcasting is allowing me and millions of others to leave our voice. And our voice will be here I mean, it goes in the cloud when we pass through the clouds. If I could hear my sister's voice today, it would it's just amazing. So that's why I encourage, you can blog, but think about starting a podcast because now you're leaving a voice for generations to come, generations and generations to come. And, my sons are, they're 31 and 27, and I don't have any grandchildren. But I know one of these days there will be grandchildren, and I may not be here and they can go back and say, "Oh my God, look at my mom or Nana or whatever they call me. Look how cool she was. Listen to her voice." Because once that voice is silenced, it doesn't take long to remember. Now it's been 30 years, and again, I look at my sister's portrait, but I can't remember her voice. And back then, we just had, answer machines with little tapes. If I had started a podcast and had her on, I could pull down that podcast and I could listen to her as much as I wanted or as little as I wanted. So I'm not giving up the blogging. I'm using my blog as a base, as a repository for my podcast. So those followers that have been following me since 2012, they may not know I have a podcast, but if I post it on my blog, they're like, oh, okay, she has this as well. And then also, someone that's thinking about starting a blog can say, hey, I can use this as a platform for everything else I do, whether it's a business or, your blog or your website, your church directory, because now churches are virtual, right? And your podcast or your blog could literally become that church bulletin board, right?
Yeah, and that's a great point because it's like your legacy in a way that you're leaving, and so and I tell anyone, my so for example, my aunt, she is a workaholic. She's almost 70, and she works in the
Uh-huh.
government. But she does it because she wants to, not because she needs to. She. We were talking the other day, and she's like, "When I retire," she's like, "They want me to retire. They've been telling me for the last 6 years. Every year, I told them I'm gonna retire." She's like, "But I don't know what I'm gonna do, and I just don't want to start a garden. I need action. I'm still young, and I'm like, get it,
Go,
auntie. You are
be,
right."
do.
So, and I told her, I said, start a podcast. I said, it's your way of expressing everything that you've gone on and going in your world, and plus you can maybe give advice to the younger people. And said, whatever it is, you start it. Say, what to do after I retire? And podcasting is a
Exactly. That's
great way.
perfect. That's I
Yeah,
thought about that too, but I didn't want to, start a new niche. But yes, a podcast for, what retirement and beyond. Some things because this is the thing we have to remember. I mean, we're here in the United States of America, right? But we are so anal when it comes to thinking that only we know this. Podcasting, blogging, this is global. There
yeah,
are people in other countries that can learn from us and we can learn from them because we're all one people. So just because I'm going to throw out the gardening. I know your aunt doesn't want to do gardening, but suppose there's someone out there, a young person that wants to start a garden, and they have no idea because their parents never taught them, they didn't grow up in that area. I mean, even going back to what you said about your son, you're breaking that generational curse because there never really was one. We can teach our sons to cook, to clean, to vacuum, to iron. I taught my sons I haven't washed my son's clothes since they were 8 years old. I taught them how to wash their clothes. I've never washed their clothes since the age of 8. They know how to cook, they know how to clean, they know how to sew because this is things that they need to know as they grow up. So if your aunt has a gift of teaching others, because what cracks me up, Line, I don't know about you, but I'll look at some TikTok videos of the most dumbest things and I'm going, duh, that's how we did it. Like, really? So we can share content that makes when we may think is just, this is we do this here, but then your content is reaching people all over the world. So if she has a passion for, cooking or a passion for traveling or she wants to travel, right? So she can find groups and just share, take pictures and share. I always tell people never just simply take a picture and upload it on a social platform with no rhyme and reason. Make sure you are tagging those companies, mentioning those companies. I don't care if it's a bottle of water so that you can stand out in the crowd because there's a lot of noise out there. And that's what I did. I don't care if I was buying something, Betty Crocker, and then I would tag Betty Crocker cakes. This is pre-diabetes me. I can't do the Betty Crocker anymore, but sorry, Betty. But anyhow, you know what I'm saying? Tag, mention, get your name out there, and understand that as a boomer, we have more disposable income than the younger generation. So tell Auntie to get out there and do something and live her life because God did not put us on this earth to work hard and then die. Enjoy those years. Enjoy them,
yes,
Auntie.
yes,
Enjoy
yes,
them.
yes. Live while you are alive is what I always say, right? Because we are
Yes.
so in this kind of mindset that it's 9 to 5, get up, do it, and we're burned out. And I was talking to someone the other day, and I was like, they they they're never really taking a vacation, and most Americans are in that sense because we're like, we are afraid to lose a job. You got 2 weeks. We're so mentally into that. I gotta work. You gotta live too. You gotta live. So, all right. Now you mentioned podcasting. So we did blogging, podcasting. Let's get into it, right? So you said why are you doing podcasts? So now there's someone out there who may be in a position, like you said, where they're in a boomer situation and they don't know what to do, and they got. We talked about the where the imposter syndrome, where they're feeling like no one's gonna listen to me. But now, what is a reason or how can they kind of start, right? So now they're listening to you and they said, podcasting. She mentioned, okay, but where do I start, right? They can reach out to you, they can get a book, they can do whatever. What are your suggestions?
I love that segue. I have the two books, right? I've got the edition one and edition two, right? of podcasting your purpose resource guide. But that's my shameless plug. And my second plug is why 75% of podcasters fail. And I'm contributing content there. And speaking of, how many of us of my generation knows Les Brown? If you've been a follower of Les Brown, I started following and listening to Les Brown in 1980 something or other when I was working for IBM. He used to come in and he used to speak to the middle managers. And I love Les, always love Les, the fear, false evidence appearing real, things like that. And actually, I'm a contributor to his book, Les Brown Changed Our Lives. I think I'm number 77. But, oh, there I am. But what I'd like to say is, here I am, three glasses, age happens. But anywho, what wakes you up in the morning? What puts you to sleep at night? When you go to your family and it's Thanksgiving or family reunion, what is it that you love to talk about all day, day? What is it like? Oh my gosh, I wish he'd shut up about. That is your podcast. Choose that topic. Do a brain dump. What is it that you love? Take 10 things that you love to do and you could do for the rest of your life. And you could talk about it week after week, month after month, and year after year. That's the topic of your podcast because you have to have that P word, the passion, right? You want to bid, sleeping. I do it all the time. I'm sleeping and I wish I could just pull the thoughts out of my head and put it in a jar for the next day because I'm always thinking about the next episode, the next thing I want to talk about because there is so much out there, but I have a passion for it. And I started my very first podcast in 2017. It was a live call-in show on a landline. And that's when podcasting bug bit me about that time. I started out on Anchor, just talking, sharing. It was a community and we grew. And I said, you know what? Now I've got to focus. If I'm going to do something with this, I have to focus in on a topic or a niche. So since that time, I've had four other podcasts. The two active ones now is the Delaware Blogger podcast because I'm the Delaware Blogger. People know me as the Delaware Blogger. So it naturally the Delaware Blogger podcast. And that is teaching other people how to podcast. Then, because I love to talk, I love to interview, I love to be interviewed, I have Out and About with Antionette, which is a podcast where I love to feature people who are doing great things in their community because we could get bad news all day, every day, just by turning it on the television or the radio or whatever. But I want to share the good things that's happening, whether they're an author, a baker, a new entrepreneur. I just, again, Lion, this is about leaving a legacy. How do I want to be remembered? Remember, I was born in 1961. I don't know when I will leave this world, but what will I be known for that dash in between?
Man, listen, you dropping some things. I don't even have my AC on right now, and I've got some chills there. So look, if you're listening to this and you're not catching the vibes and everything, I don't know what to tell you. Let's check the comments here. We've got Precious that said yes, Les Brown, Kiera Somali. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. She says, love Les Brown. How cool to be in the book with him. All right. I said that right there would be great table talk. I would be at the table every family event, every place I go, and people would be like, oh, here she goes. She's about to mention that Les Brown
Yep.
again book. I don't
That
care,
would, and
right?
Les would be travel companion because I could not travel without reading something or popping in my earbuds. And I was actually, when I was working in corporate America, my commute was literally 3 hours a day. And
Mm,
so, podcasts weren't popular, but we could still, pop our earbuds in. And I
yeah,
would, listen to Les, coming down 202, Route 195 the whole time because he just gave me, like you said, the chills, right?
yeah.
This man came from humble beginnings. He remained humble, but he has so much compassion for fellow human beings that all he wants to do is share it. And that's why he became who he is.
Love it, man. This has been so great, and I'm gonna say for me, this is my word of the day, the week, my new year of whatever I want to do, and it's because I've been really focusing on building and growing. And one of the things that I remember hearing once it said, Oh, and actually, I went to go see him in Vegas a while back
Yes.
at a podcast convention. Um, he was speaking there, but someone said, "No successful person." And when I say success, I do not directly mean money, right? Success is different to everyone, but no successful person has made it to the position where they're at by themselves. Like they surround themselves with people who know how to do things better, who can help them learn or whatever. And so, my word for the week, the next year, whatever, is collaboration. I am all about trying to work with people, not the crab in the bucket theory, but pushing agendas and growing and being around positive minded people and like minded souls, right? I don't want to be around people who drain me. And every time I see you, I'm like, oh, here they come. Man, that
Here they
affects
come.
me. Right. So,
Oh, we have those people. It's like, oh, how
yes,
do I like circumvent, go another way? Did they see me? Okay, I'll just go
yes.
and say, hey, yeah, well, yeah,
Yeah,
we've got
I'm
those
gonna tell
people.
you, I got to a certain point, and for me, I kind of I say this jokingly, but I say this with sincerity also. One of the most powerful words I started to learn, and I do it so much now, is no. No. What I mean by that is to say no without feeling like I owe you an explanation. It's
Hmm.
almost an innate thing as people, as humans, that we feel like if someone says, "Can you take me to the grocery store?" No, because right? Why do I owe you a no? I I no, right? But we feel like we have to give an explanation. And when I got to a point where I got so much like, no, I'm cool. I don't need to do that. No, I don't want to be around you. And I tell people, hey, you don't want to hang out? No. Why not? Because your energy and my energy aren't vibing any longer, man. You're going in a different direction. I'm trying to grow here. You just want to keep partying. And one, I found people respected it. They eventually they get mad, but they respected it because you're honest. I'm not ghosting you. I'm just no, I don't want to go to the concert.
Hmm.
My knees said no. How about that? It's not me saying no, it's my knees. Talk to them. Get mad at my knees. So, but we're going to get ready to wrap it up here. And the reason why I'm saying that collaboration thing is I want to do this more often. If there's anyone else out there who's listening as well, and maybe we want to get a panel together, right? We want to get 4 or 5 people to come on and talk about a subject, talk about how to approach management if you feel you're having some ageism involved or something, right? I would love that because people want information. Sometimes they just don't know where to find it or how to deliver it to maybe a company or something like that. So, what are some
Hmm.
final words or things you would want to say to tell people who are listening to you, come find you, where at, all that information? Let them know.
Okay, so we're going to wrap this up in a bow, but there are a few people that I do definitely want to thank, and everybody that's came on today to support me, Leah and Gemma and Precious and Dr. G, and I missed another name, so you got to tell me who that is, Lion. But it's age is people say age is just a number. It's more than just a number. It's an attitude. You when people see me like, oh my god, you have so much energy. Well, what else am I going to have? I mean, this is me. I've always been energized, and I love being around people with lots of energy. So for example, there's a virtual office for entrepreneurs in Middletown, Delaware, and I used to have a podcast studio there at home, helping one more entrepreneur. And I am surrounded by such fun, fantastic people of a particular age, young and old, but they keep me motivated. They get me up out of my basement. I go there, I do, book signings. We're going to have like an author's meet and greet on the 23rd there. And Joe is like my big brother, and, Chris is like my nephew, and Rosemary. I mean, if you surround yourself, and this is something I learned from my grandma, if you surround yourself with those people that have a high energy, you're going to have high energy. She lived to be 98 years old, and it was just that last year of life that took her out. But she surrounded herself with young people, my sons included. So surrounding yourself, going to places. The Delaware Black Chamber of Commerce, they were in their third year, and I remember, meeting Ayana when both of us were at the DelTech. We were both teaching classes, and we were just starting out. And the struggle is real. Hey, it ain't no joke. But now the Delaware Black Chamber of Commerce is about to have their third gala next week at the DuPont Country Club, I think. So if you're interested, I'll leave the link for that too so you can get some tickets. But they're doing amazing things for entrepreneurs. And I actually was a charter member back in 2020. So I love surrounding myself by all that talent. So, surround yourself with people that's going to give you that energy. And like you said, the term no, for me, it's a next opportunity. I may say no to this, but that doesn't mean there's not going to be a next opportunity, which is based on this conversation here. So, I'm Antoinette Blake, the DE Diva, aka the Delaware blogger, 32 years in corporate America, married 33 years, have beautiful family, a beautiful sorority sisters, beautiful people that I surround myself with. Young people, Leah is the youngest president of the Delaware State University Alumni Association. I get so much energy from her. It's just amazing. So if you want to learn more about me, how to start a blog, a podcast, or even just follow me on social media, I'm going to give you that Linktree ID, which is A Blake Enterprises. Just go to Linktree, A Blake Enterprises, and they'll give you all my platforms and you can find and follow me. And if you would like to be a guest on Out and About with Antoinette, or if you'd like to sponsor some episodes of Out and About with Antoinette or the Delaware Blogger Podcast, send an email to info@ablakeenterprises.com. Again, Lion, thank you so very much. God puts people in your life for a reason and a season. And this next season, my 62nd season, is going to be on and popping. Thank you.
Oh my goodness, look at that. You were just delivering it. And while you were doing it, I was reading some of the comments coming in. I'll just read some to you before we kind of
Okay.
go ahead and finish off. And again, I do hope I'm getting it right, but Kiera, she said,
Kiara
when in,
Smell. Yes,
yes,
home.
Kiera
Talking about
Smell.
home. Kiara's a coach at home.
Okay. She said, when in doubt, blame it on your knees.
I love that.
I said, I'm going to get that on the t-shirt. I'm going to get that. I promise you. Kiera,
Yes.
make sure you watch some future episodes. Matter of fact, let's follow each other because I'm going to tag you with that t-shirt on that says, blame it on my knees. Let me make sure. I
But
say,
and then
yeah,
Kiara,
yeah.
but the Kiara's gonna put me in my place because they do fire walks, and I have not raised my hand to do one. I want to do it, but I'm just too afraid.
Oh my goodness. And then we have Luis or Louis Vaughn saying no to people has
That's
added
my
to
cousin
my peace.
Robin.
Okay.
Now my cousin
Said
Robin, I go way back. She know Duracell the '60s. We got still got those pictures. Hey, cuz, how
yes.
you doing? And give Ebony my love.
She says saying no has added to my peace. I'm telling you, it
Oh yeah, she
really
will
is.
say
You don't have
no.
to feel obligated to do something. Then we had Kira again said, yes, your vibe attracts your tribe. Thank you, Antoinette and Lion. Great broadcast. Hey, we're going to be bringing more like this. So if you feeling this, get the word out because it does not cost much just to share or tell people and say, hey, if you're feeling whatever and you want some great information, check out these two. Go check them out. And
Yeah,
so
right.
make sure you help
Let us
spread
know.
that. Then we also had Precious says, oh, on and popping. Yes, queen. Well, she put a couple of S's. So I guess that's
I know she's a
yes,
queen. I
queen.
mean, I love following her. She motivates me like nobody's business.
Yes. And then Dr. G, I'm going to say that. Dr.
Yeah,
G.
Dr. G. Yes.
She said, yes, queen, on and popping. So thank you all, everyone who came from all of the platforms. I see people, we have people from Facebook, LinkedIn, and we have people from YouTube on as well. Thank you, each and every one of you. I'm enjoying this. And Antoinette, let's get together again and figure out what we're going to do next time, how we're going to do this. Take 20, 30 minutes to brighten up someone's life, give them some information. Oh, and here's something I always say. This is really important. Anyone who's listening to this, I'm going to call it straight as it is. I told y'all I'm a retired Marine. And also for anyone out there who has a veteran in life and who speaks to veterans, do me a favor. This is a narrative I've been working to change. Tell a veteran next time, instead of saying thank you for your service, say
Ah,
thank you for your sacrifice.
gotcha.
Look at the light on their faces when you say that. And the reason why is because as veterans, we serve so much more than we sacrifice. I mean, we sacrifice so much more than we serve.
Sacrifice.
time away from family, mental health, ailments, so many things we sacrifice for so many things, and sometimes the country doesn't even give it back to us. But hey, that's another story.
Mhm.
Thank you
And
for that.
and Monday is 9/11, so that would be a perfect day to
Yes. Ooh,
practice
great.
because you will
I'm
see
gonna
a
promote
lot of
that.
our vets. So thank you for our sacrifice to
Yes.
all our vets. We remember, that tragic day, and we
Yeah.
appreciate your sacrifice.
Yes, thank you, thank you. Jimmy also said wonderful. Jimmy Lowry said wonderful session. Thank you to you both. And Kira said I will absolutely share. Thank you guys. And then the last thing I'm gonna say on this right here is you got some great information, ladies and gentlemen. And the reason why I prefaced that by saying I'm a devil dog, I'm a Marine, is I still haven't learned the tactfulness of smoothing out what I'm about to say, but I say it anyways. And what I mean by this is that the streets aren't made for everyone. That's why they have sidewalks, right? Being a business professional, being an entrepreneur means you have to have a different mindset. You got information here today that was delivered to you that gives you the ability to get you started in some form or fashion. It's up to you to start it. You got the information. If you don't do anything with it, it's your fault. I'm not beating around the bush. It is no one else's fault. No, it's not because the trees and the leaves haven't turned brown yet and you like fall better and everything. It's not, oh, I'm gonna start on Monday. No, then you're putting it off. Start tomorrow. Start planning today, then start the action on do something though. So, anyways, I just love to end with that because I love to tell people that we got to push ourselves, we got to hustle, we got to do everything. So thank you all, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate you for coming and we hope you share. See you again. We're going to work to continue building this. And if you want to be on Antoinette's show, reach out to her. All of the links will be inside of the show notes and everything else. If you have any questions, let us know because maybe we can answer that. Or if you want to learn something, right? We've been talking about trying to find someone to come and speak about AI. That's a big thing
Mhm.
now. People trying to learn, so we want to get an expert on that. So all right. Thank you again, Antoinette. Thank you so very much. Hang with me for 1 second. I'm going to go ahead and end the show and I'll be right back with
Sure.
you. Okay.
Bye.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all for coming to watch this first product that we've been trying on Redesign Your Life, bringing in someone. Make sure you go check out Antoinette's pages out and about with her. Make sure you check out A. Blake Enterprises, all her website information, everything. I am a big proponent of pushing other people's in collaboration. Do not believe in crab in the bucket theory. I cannot wait to learn more with you, share more with you, and grow more with you as well. And make sure, no matter what you do, that you continue to live, ladies and gentlemen, while you are alive. Booyah. And I think we're done. Are we done? Are we done? Let me make sure. Hold on, hold on. 1 second.